Talk nerdy to me.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Nerdy Girlfriend, and y'all know that I'm Maggz, and well, there's other people here, like always. Although, update, remember how I told you all we had an intern? We killed him. You know, he had the red shirt, and we figured with the theme of today's episode that we'd sacrifice the red shirt, because that's usually what always happens, right? So now instead of having an intern, we have a stand. We're looking for interns. If you want to intern at Nerdy Girlfriend, please comment below. Thank you. Now, for today's episode, I'm sure, as we all know, and if you don't know, then you've been living in a cave. But as we all know, there was a great tragedy in the nerd community recently with the passing of the great Leonard Nimoy, Spock, and we thought here at Nerdy Girlfriend we would take the moment to pay tribute to him and honor him. So that is the theme for our episode today. Leonard Nimoy, the icon, the legend. When you think Star Trek, you think Spock. Like, granted there are other main characters that you think about. Captain Picard, Captain Kirk, all sorts of people. The number one person has always been, though, Spock. And what's even crazy is he's the only person from the original pilot of that show that remained on the show. And the other really cool thing, he wasn't even supposed to last that long. They were actually supposed to write him off later in the seasons. But fandom was just like, no, we love Spock. And Gene Roddenberry's like, okay, keep the pointy-eared guy. But let's take it back a little bit before Star Trek and fill anyone in case you guys don't know anything about Leonard. Leonard Nimoy was born in Boston to two immigrants from Soviet Russia. And when he was 8 years old, he was introduced to the theater. And from there, by the time he was 17, he got his first role. And from there, that was it. He had the bug. It crawled up inside of him and he couldn't resist it anymore. Even after his parents told him not to do it, to find a practical job, as I'm sure everyone out there who wants to be an actor knows, that's what they all say. And he didn't listen, as you shouldn't listen, and strive for his dreams. And look where he is now. He is a legend amongst everyone. My first introduction to Leonard Nimoy wasn't even Star Trek, actually. It was well before I saw Star Trek. My mom loved Westerns, and she loved to watch this one show in particular called Bonanza. If you know what Bonanza is, you're awesome. If you don't know what it is, go find it. Anyway, so he showed up on a Bonanza, and he was a cowboy, and he was the bad guy. He showed up in all black with the black cowboy hat, and he was causing fights and stuff, and the good guys had to come in and beat him up and stuff. But that was my first introduction to Leonard Nimoy, was on Bonanza as a cowboy. And then I saw him as Spock on Star Trek, and it was weird because I wanted to know where his cowboy hat was. So Leonard Nimoy was not only a wonderful actor and photographer and director, but he was very devout in his faith of Judaism. He was Jewish. And he, in creating Spock, created basically everything we know about Vulcans. I know Gene had some of it, but, Nimoy had it. He was the one coming up with everything. The live long and prosper, if you don't know, that's a symbol that Jewish priests do over people when they're blessing them. And him being a rebel, when you're not supposed to be looking, decided to look, and he saw the priests doing that, and he turned it into what we now know as live long and prosper. He also created the Vulcan death grip that we all know and love. Now, he did this because Gene Roddenberry's like, okay, in the fight, I want you to pull out the phaser, and I want you to shoot them. No. And he's just like, what? No? Correction. You're supposed to what?
Be the hilt of his phaser.
Oh, he's supposed to...
Yeah, that's him up with the phaser.
Apparently Gene Roddenberry wanted Nimoy to... No, he wanted Spock to pistol whip somebody with his phaser. Spock don't do that. Spock is sophisticated. So what does he do? Well, he can control energy through his fingertips because Spock is a fucking badass. So he just touches you and you just go, I need a volunteer to be my death grip person. We don't have an intern anymore.
Adam.
Robin.
Robin's not doing it.
Yeah.
Robin is not doing it.
Volunteer Adam.
I volunteered
Cameraman
that one.
one. Cameraman one. Yeah, cameraman one. All right. Look, everyone, this is cameraman one, and this is the Vulcan death grip.
How do you feel about Leonard Nimoy? Him personally to you?
When I think of Leonard Nimoy, I think of, well, my mom, because my mom introduced me to Star Trek. And no, we're not going there. I'm going to start crying already. Stop it. I hate you. Well, yeah, Star Trek makes me think of my mom, because she's the one that introduced it to me. And I really wouldn't have been interested in anything nerdy if it hadn't been for my mom showing me Star Trek with Spock and Captain Kirk and the Tribbles, and that is illogical. And live long and prosper. You know, I grew up on that. That was my childhood. And Spock was my childhood. Spock is one of the icons of the entire nerd community. I mean, like, you got different icons for different genres and things like that, but Spock was an icon for those people in our community who can't process emotions the way we do. They don't think in the same manner as a normal human being would. Not that they're not human beings, their brain is just wired a little differently, like the Vulcans have been trained to do all of their lives, and now they're what most people will be like, they're unfeeling robots, which isn't true, just like these people that we take for granted. And you know, that's, I think, something Spock embodied. Was he was a great man that was just different. I think William Shatner said that Spock was the most human character he had ever met or ever encountered. I don't think that's the right wording. You can all, you know, quote me in the credits, you know, in the comments later and tell me if I'm right or wrong. Leonard Nimoy died at the age of 83, peacefully in his bed, asleep, surrounded by his family and friends. He lived long and he prospered.